Snowball Crochet.
Hi everyone! Today I'm going to share with you how I made this cozy turtleneck. I'll be making a size small in this video, and the written pattern will be available on my blog this week. Now let's jump right in. You will need number 5 bulky weight yarn, a 6.5mm crochet hook, some scissors, a darning needle, and some stitch markers. Create a slip knot and chain 51. Once you've made 51 chains, we're going to start row 1. Insert your hook into the third chain from the hook. I prefer to work into the back bump of the chain. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on the hook. That completes our first loop stitch. I'm going to place a stitch marker in the chain before the loop stitch, because we're going to work into this turning chain at the end of the next row. Chain 1 and loop stitch over the next 2 chains. Insert your hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through all loops. That completes our second loop stitch. Chain 1 and loop stitch over the next 2 chains. Repeat across. Now I have 3 chains left. I'm going to loop stitch over the next 2 chains. Chain 1 and single crochet into the last chain. Turn your work to start row 2. First we're going to chain 2. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch throughout this pattern. Next we're going to work our first loop stitch. Insert your hook into the first single crochet. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, Insert a hook into the next chain 1 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on the hook, chain 1. Loop stitch over the next stitch and the next chain 1 space. Chain 1. Loop stitch over the next stitch and the next chain 1 space. Repeat across. At the end of each row, you should have 24 pattern repeats plus 1 single crochet that equals 49 stitches in total. At the end of row 2, after chaining 1, we're going to skip the next loop stitch and single crochet in that turning chain and turn. To start row 3, chain 2, and mark the turning chain with a stitch marker. Loop stitch over the first stitch and the next chain 1 space. Chain 1 and loop stitch over the next loop stitch and chain 1 space. Chain 1, repeat across. At the end of row 3, skip the last loop stitch and single crochet in the turning chain and turn. From now on, we're just going to repeat row 3 until row 47. To start row 47, chain 1, and we're just going to single crochet in every stitch and chain all the way to the end. At the end of row 47, remove the stitch marker and skip that turning chain and turn. For the next row, we're going to chain 1 and make 15 single crochets, then fasten off, leaving a long tail for seaming. Make another 15 single crochets for the other side and then fasten off, leaving a long tail for seaming. Repeat the whole process to make a second panel and place them on the surface with the wrong sides facing outwards, so the right sides are facing together. Line up the stitches and whip stitch the shoulder seams together. Now we are going to crochet the collar ribbing onto the neck with the right side facing you. Attach your yarn to the shoulder seam and then chain 7. To start row 1 of the collar ribbing, we're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook and single crochet to the end. Slip stitch into each of the next 2 stitches and turn your work to start row 2. To start row 2, we're going to skip the 2 slip stitches we just made and back loop single crochet into the next. The back loop is the one that's further away from you. and back loop single crochet to the end. The last stitch is going to be a normal single crochet instead of a back loop single crochet, so just insert a hook into both loops and make a single crochet. Chain 1 and turn. For row 3, we're going to single crochet into the first stitch and back loop single crochet to the end. Slip stitch 2 times into each of the next 2 stitches. Skip those 2 slip stitches and back loop single crochet to the end. Single crochet into the last stitch, chain 1 and turn. Repeat those 2 rows around, and when you've finished with the last row, fasten off. Whip stitch the last row to the first row. Measure about 7 inches for the armhole opening and whip stitch the sides together. I counted about 28 rows from bottom up for your reference. For the sleeve edging, attach your yarn to the bottom of the armhole and chain 1. Single crochet evenly around the armhole, and then slip stitch into the first stitch. To start round 2, do not turn, chain 1, and back loop single crochet around. At the end of round 2, slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 1, and back loop single crochet for 1 more round, and then fasten off. For the bottom ribbing, we're going to repeat the same steps as the collar ribbing. Attach your yarn to the side seam and chain 7. Single crochet into the second chain from the hook and single crochet to the end. And then we're just going to alternate between row 2 and row 3, just like what we did for the collar ribbing, and then fasten off, weaving all of your ends.